And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with.
DANK.
We're here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminati, and all those that wish to harm all of humankind for their own selfish reasons. How's it going today, Tank? Anything new with Kim?
Anything new with Kim? Not anything that I'm gonna bring up right now. Did have a meeting this morning directly in reference to something we're working on for Kim, and she was pleased with it, and that's good for all of us. What that thing that I'm just not going to mention, only because some of this stuff is kind of sensitive, and I just don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to mess it up right now.
Sure.
Whereas before, I was very comfortable messing it up, but not now.
Not now. Don't mess it up now.
Yep. But I will say that that's good news for us, and that does have to do with getting project money flowing, so that's good. And some other cool stuff. I know she was meeting with what appeared to be some important people this morning, and again, all of that. Sorry to be so cryptic, guys. I hate when people do that to me. I'm not doing that intentionally to you, but it's some of this stuff is just so crazy, to be honest. Some of the things that go on, it's just simple, basic things, and but it's some of the people that go to meet with Kim. There's Dan and I were talking about this right before the calls that Kim is actually recognized as the
Tsar?
most bloodline. Well, she's recognized as the Tsar of Russia, the genetically the Tsar of Russia, and she's also recognized as the highest level bloodline royal on the entire planet, and she's recognized as the sole sovereign by the head of church and states in the world, right? And which is a big deal, right? So the real head of the highest ranking authority in all of the religious world on the planet is actually the Russian Orthodox, right? So so I'm always pontificating about exactly. I don't know who the highest level of the state is, although I do know that Vladimir Putin at one point was the Pindar, for a little while, right? But I don't know, how important that is at this point. I don't know who there's the people above, the government level authorities, right? Are there's a couple covens they're at war with each other, right? So you have the Order of the Black Sun, and then whatever the Rothschilds are, I guess the Dragon families, right? So and they've been the head. Right now the Rothschilds are the head of the Dragon families, and you have these two wars going on. So you have the New World Order, and you have the Order of the Black Sun. Kind of, they've been warring things out here. They're kind of the two factions that survived, right? Because you had the secret space program, you have the Nazis, but then you had
Well, who would the Nazis be aligned with the New World Order then, right? I think that's
actually no. They actually I think she mentioned them. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Yeah, so the Rothschilds, the New World Order. So that's like Hitler.
Right.
And that was like the brown eagle he was known as, right? And then you have the black eagle, which you'll see that symbol, right? That's a Rothschild symbol. And you have like the black eagle bonds that are very famous, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are like these huge, massive bonds. That's all the symbolism of the Rothschilds. They've even, we have the bald eagle here in the United States, but the corporation, I guess, really, when you see the symbol of the United States, it really is a black eagle. Not to take away from that symbolism, because I personally love the bald eagle, but we got to take our symbols back. But anyway, so all this different stuff going on, right? You have all these different characters of.
Well, just on the symbology a little bit, I know I saw some things about family crests, and it came down to two sides. You're either going to have eagles on your shield, on your coat of arms, or you were going to have lions. Do you know what the lions relate to then?
Yeah, the lions relate to the Pashat, or the cat people, or I think they're called the Lyrians, which is one of the, there's I guess in the grand design of genetic creation, that's one of the sources that we were drawn from, the best qualities of these different different beings, and the Lyrians are one of them.
Interesting.
Which are like the Thundercats, from what I understand. I don't know if anybody knows that reference, but
I know it. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Well, my wife keeps asking me. It's like, the cats are always talking to you, and you're always talking back. Do you talk to animals? Yeah, and I said, yeah, I talk to them. So,
well, one, that's adorable. Both by your wife and you, actually. But yeah, I think that's cool. It's fascinating if you look at the way that the world was whitewashed, right? Is a term that's used, right? Like they took the painted Egyptian art, right? And they basically took away the black faces, made it white. Mm. But if you see like the symbols for what the Egyptians were, right? Like, I mean, and that, a lot of it not just like brown colored skin, but like black, right? Like black, like the that different symbolism, right? And then you have like in Syria, right? You have this. It's pretty well known. You have the Syrian art, that the Syrian faces on the artwork was like humanoid cats.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's they're always trying to hide this stuff. So I just I hate that our history is buried like this, because I love history. I really love history, and it's one of those things like where history has to be told from multiple perspectives, right? To try to get some semblance of the whole story, and so you can never just say this is what it was, because there's another perspective to that, right? And I always think I'm sometimes fascinated by the things that I do know, and I'm just constantly aware of how much I don't know, But I would love for historians to actually, tie together these. The Smithsonian has buried massive grave sites, archaeological digs of giants all over the world, right?
Right.
I mean, Dan has talked about personal experience being, going to see ancient Egyptian mines in like Illinois, right? And I know of, like one of the oldest versions of the original Ten Commandments written in stone in a way that they don't even know how they did it, is in like New Mexico, like permanently, right? It's not just like, something you can move. It's like it's permanently there. And then if you look at all the towns that go right down the middle of the country there, you have all of these towns that reference different things from, like all through Kentucky and Illinois. They're all different names of things from Egypt, And then there's, I think it's in Illinois or Indiana. It might even be Michigan, but somewhere in that part of the world. This guy, I mean, he's got incredible, extensive research done that really, and if it was found any place else in the world, would prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he uncovered the tomb of Alexander the Great, and I think it's Queen Bathsheba, maybe, there, and like all of this in America, right?
Doesn't that tie into Gilgamesh?
It might, I'm not actually familiar with that.
I think Alexander the Great ties into Gilgamesh, and that's why he was a giant.
Yeah, and it is a giant too. I mean, it's a very, it's like 7 foot tall, tomb is there. So, or sarcophagus, whatever. Very, very basic from what I understand though. But what he found by the time he got there after it had been looted was like these big tablets that looked like coins, and they were like history. They told a story.
Yeah.
And like you could just keep going through the tablets, and they would just keep telling different stories about, Alexander the Great, and different things went on there. So, that stuff's amazing to me. I mean, it's just amazing. Like,
yeah. I'm just.
And I know they uncovered another tomb, not even a tomb, but some kind of cavern. I want to say it was like in Belgium. That's so incredible that there's so many elements there and products made out of these elements, and they're not even sure where the elements are from, how they were able to manipulate them, right? Because they always have this ridiculous storyline of like, oh, there's no galactics, and there's energy there. And from what I understand, they actually found one of the Arks of the Covenant there, but they're keeping nobody's even talking about it, right? That's like going on 3 years now that they're there, that they found it.
Wow. They have one of the Arks of the Covenant as it's in a tomb.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hush hush, right? But like it's there. I mean, but this is part of like one of the things that's happened. Like you remember, like a few years back, like King Tut's the artifacts from King Tut's tomb.
Yeah.
They were like on tour, right?
Right.
So some of the archaeologists who'd been there, when they saw the artifacts, they go, "That's not the artifacts," right? So they had like fake ones on tour, right? Which is like the perfect cover, right? Oh, they got on tour, they come back, you just gotta place them back in,
right?
And but I guess like the real artifacts have significant value, and all types of, I don't know, they probably have spells and rituals and stuff like that, control jinns, who knows, But things like that would make sense if you were getting ready to destroy the world, right? That you would take the valuable, the things that you deem worthy of being historically valuable, and you just stole them, right? Because that's what these guys do. So, not a lot of stuff like that. I'm always looking at how we're going to preserve our history, and then how we're going to make history.
Well, it seems like writing things on stone is kind of like the preferred way to make it last.
Yeah, that would seem to make it last. They're brilliant when they made everything digital. They're like, look, we don't even have to burn books anymore. We'll just erase everything. We'll just block them on social media.
That side of this is really has to be handled to stop all of this censorship. Yeah. And on that topic, looks like still need volunteers that are able to help start downloading. I'm going to try and coordinate it a little bit better. I've got some time now to kind of work on that. But I'm going to need some help. There are people that are doing it, but it's moving slowly. There's quite a lot of videos there. So please contact me if you're able to do anything. Just download and upload. That's it. Download and upload. I think people are downloading but not uploading. I think they're trying to save it, get it down, and don't worry about the uploading yet. So that's okay as well. But we need to keep track of which ones are done and not. Yeah, quite a lot there.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about this, Dan. About I do want to update people on Karen Markowski. She did have an emergency hearing this morning, and to try to get custody of her daughter, under the circumstances, because they're what is it called there? The DCFS in Illinois, who handles all stuff. Basically, now we have the audio of this. That basically she made a call and finally got a hold of their guy, and he basically said that there was no longer a safety plan in place. So they had created a safety plan to move the little girl Sasha over with the mother of the sodomist, rapist, child porn, whatever guy, and the father, who had also had an order of protective order against him as well for the daughter, and then at one point the father ended up dropping off the daughter to Kara, right? So obviously he wasn't obeying by it because he wasn't supposed to be around her, and so when she called, they said that there was no longer a safety plan in place, and got it recorded, right? And lo and behold, went in today and they said, "Oh yeah, it's in place, blah blah blah, all the stuff." But that's obviously a lie. And this is really like the most corrupt court system. It's hard for me to believe, and I know it's corrupt. It's hard for me to watch happen. But at very least, they did. She will have her daughter, on for 2 days of the week, right? And I believe that they're trying to set her up to see if she'll run, and they're going to be hawking her. And then once she runs, then they can just take her daughter and be done with her. So obviously, we advised her not to do that. So, but we did activate started to really reach out to a significant portion of the militias around the country, trying to bring together multiple groups. I think it's very important, very, very important, that we have an active militia. Now, every single person here, as a resident of America, that is, you are part of the militia. And when you see constitutional violations and people's rights being infringed upon, you do actually have an obligation to defend the Constitution as well. All of us have that responsibility. And there was a little bit of a concern, right? Because, when you have all these laws and statutes that are, and these judges are just violating them, and, the cops are involved, right? So everybody's complicit in this town, it seems. People got so my guys got a little nervous, like, man, are we going to pull together a militia to go and, take this kid out? Or, it's going to be a war, right? Now, I want to be clear. I am very, very much an advocate for a powerful, peaceful demonstrations. Powerful, peaceful demonstrations as much as possible. And I really think it is imperative that all of us, and I really think this applies around the world, that we take a stand against these forces that have suppressed everyone. And we just show up and just stand there together. When somebody is going through something like this, what I would like to have happen, and I've talked about this many times, every time we go to court, there ought to be hundreds of people there standing with us saying, we're with you.
Right.
So that there's an understanding, right? And I will never forget what this man said, that gentleman who came out to talk to us about the original Constitution there. You talk about the Iroquois and stuff, but what he said was the Massachusetts militia, they beat back the British all the way to Boston.
Without firing a shot.
And they never fired a shot. I love that. I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Now, in that, you can see the power of the will of the human spirit, right? Yeah. And I just think that's essential for us to consider, because we are at a time. Now, you've seen this around the world. You've seen all these groups, the Chinese and Paris, the French, they're standing up. And, as far as I know, last I knew, France, Paris is still burning, right? It's crazy there. And these are people standing up and saying, absolutely not, we're not going to let this happen anymore. And you'll get the few stories about bad things happening, right? But I'm going to tell you something. If we stood up together, you couldn't do that here. The things that are going on that way, if we stood in force together, you could not do that. Now, furthermore, if you stood in force and those were protests that were managed and supported by the militia in a peaceful way, where those men show up and women show up, and they are armed, and they are there to protect the people, and there is no intention of actually going to war, because this is what they want, right? This is why Antifa, they attack old ladies walking across the road, veterans that are in wheelchairs, right? This is the kind of nonsense they do, right?
Right.
They stir up a base that is filled with insecure, gender dysphoric millennials, right? And every one of those things, I want to be clear, those are not derogatory terms. That is just what's happened, right? Because they're drugged up on vaccines, and they're loaded up with hormones from somebody else, the GMOs in the food, all these different things. And then you get these kids, the real young kids that are, probably brilliant in some way, but they're angry, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't know who they are, and they're mad, and they blame you for it, right? Like, it wasn't me, But so that's kind of what they're doing. And anybody logical, right? Like, you see something like that happen, and you're like, what are you doing? That doesn't make sense. And why are you so mad? Like, about what? And and this is happening everywhere. But you have to have this ridiculous version of humanity that's just kind of so angry they don't know what to do with it, and then they act like you're crazy.
Right.
And you have to have that if you're going to provoke violence with people. That by nature we're just not violent. We're just not. People are more likely to, like, naturally, what we want to do. We want to help people. It's who we are. We want other people to be successful because it makes us feel good, right? We feel good. We feel like we're successful because other people around us are successful, right? Yes. And we all like that. It's just natural. So they're trying to kill that. So I really think it's important that we organize efforts on a massive scale.
Right.
And I mean massive because the strength of the people comes in just the collective value that we have together, you know.
And we've got really good tools to help do that. You know, Zoom being one. You know, you're actually able to bring thousands of people online at one time on Zoom for meetings. You could do a meeting with thousands of people with Zoom. There you can in Telegram. You know, we can coordinate groups and efforts and things of that nature that help us. You know, organize, right? And these things are, you know, kind of outside. You know, YouTube is compromised, but Facebook is compromised. A lot of these others are compromised, but we do have the ability to still reach everyone. We just got to get engaged and organized from these tools, right? And that helps us to, you know, deploy.
Absolutely. And you know what? And we are going to start doing this. I was talking to, you know, some of my most trusted vets this morning about it. That you know, we're going to start doing this, having regular conference calls for veterans, militia, people that want to be actively involved, and we're going to really start to organize these things until we break through this. You know, and then we're going to do the same for the project owners, right? So it'll just be normal. It'll just be normal business. You know, like, hey, you know, this night will be this topic, and we'll tell people ahead of time, and we'll discuss it, right? But we got to be on the same page, right? Because, you know, my guys were a little concerned, like, look, man, you got a lot of hotheads, right? Who just been waiting. They never got their shot to go to the army or whatever. They just want to fire their gun at somebody. So okay, now that's I think that's a small portion of everything that's, you know, going on.
Yeah,
but hey, Dan, check this out. Tell me what you think about this. I thought this was a pretty good protest, actually. I know you can't hear it, but
I can't quite read it. You tell me what it says.
It says he walked up next to a very, very angry lesbian of some sort, and he basically held a sign that said "All lives matter."
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know, that's a pretty simple protest. You know, I like that. Now you just kind of doing it to kick up dust, I guess, but you know what? That's true, right? Like, how can you be mad at somebody?
Right.
And then she's hitting him, she's pushing him. She said, "Why you stay that close to me?" It's like, he's like 3 or 4 feet away from you. He's not crowding your space in any way, right? And like, it just shows, like, you know, later on when she looks at it, she's like, I really act like an ass here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not the point, is to make people look bad.
These people are being pushed into taking violent action, you know, by their leaders, right? Everyone from, you know, Maxine Waters to, you know, Hillary, they're all out there, you know, in a way, just pushing them to get to engage them and to do violence against people that are peaceful, right? You know, I think one of the problems, though, that where this tactic is not going to end up working, is that they've, you know, so much made everyone so docile that they can't get people to rise up.
You know, I have a way. I have, you know, I've been concocting this for a while.
Shh! Don't release the secret.
I'm gonna release it. Yeah, it's all coming out right now, folks. Pay attention. Right. So I'm gonna organize peaceful protests, right? But we're gonna have singing protests, right? Where we just have massive crowds of people singing a song that is of a vibration, and that is so positive. It's so encouraging. It's just in the right tone, right? And as you hear the crowd sing out in a common song that we all know, something that just makes sense. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure I'll get it. If we have to, we'll let her on, right? And and just get everybody singing that same song. I mean, 'cause that's what it's all about, right? If we could all just sing on the same song, we
get the
we
same
realize
frequency.
how silly all this is.
It's the same frequency,
right? And really, you could disable things, right? I mean, the walls of Jericho were brought down with the synchronized screen, right?
Yeah.
and the reality is the power of the frequency that we create when our real intent is peace, right? And not something corny that they've fed us, but something original to the people that we all know and recognize and we can just do, right? You ever watch? There's this great little film out of Europe, and this one guy sitting outside or one woman sitting outside with a cello, and then somebody else comes up with another instrument, and somebody else, and they just keep adding to it until it's outside in the middle of the park, and it's like a whole orchestra just outside playing, right? And there's just something so just intoxicating and empowering, and you could just understand. I mean, I remember when my sons were born, we played Mozart for them all the time, right? Because they said look, you do better on tests, you score better, right?
Yeah.
Versus this toxic kind of adrenaline based, media that we're surrounded with all the time. To just stand and kind of that song. That to me, that's kind of my vision of what we can do.
When I was a real young kid, I mean, 5, 6, 7, 8, I liked Beethoven and Mozart and Bach.
I swear to God, Dan. I swear to God. Your life experiences are incredible.
Well, I don't know if that's that incredible, but that was when I had these records, right? And I remember I was on some. It was like they sent me a record, I don't remember the period, but every couple weeks or something, I'd get a new record. And so that's what I would get in. Of course, my mother is listening to Barry Manilow and
Barry Manilow, yeah.
And
my
Engelbert Humperdinck. I always loved that name. Right, so she'd listen to that, and I'd get my record, she'd get hers, right? And so we would play them. So that was. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
When I was 7 or 8, I had my dad's old album. It was Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas album. That was my favorite album.
I like that one
it
too.
Was the bomb.
Hey, I've got a personal question to ask you.
Okay.
All right. So, are you living with Lisa?
Apparently, I'm advertising for her.
Yeah.
I know, living with Lisa, obviously, we're kind of moving into the next phase of things. So, living with Lisa, Lisa's actually putting together shorter clips, like 15, 20-minute shows, right? She's more than qualified to do it. She's a healer in her own right, as well as, kind of 20 years in, the healthcare industry as well. And she's the president of the whole healthcare kind of the insurance group there that exists in Washington, or not Washington, but California. So, she's kind of a big deal, and she's definitely worthy of having her own show.
Mm-hmm.
So she's doing that. And so I know today she had on the forensic nurse, Rachel Seller, and also pharmacist Lori Weissman, I think. Yeah, something like that. And they were breaking down, I guess, Rachel got attacked by some random goon on YouTube, and she felt like she wanted to address those things. So she did that with Lisa today. So I didn't talk to Lisa to see how it went. But.
She just has to use the troll elimination device.
Yeah, what the is that the on-off switch on the TV?
So something like that. Well, you just basically ban them from the channel.
Oh no, I think no. This was like a guy with his own following and everything. Like he really went after her. But and I go after those like as
Sure.
appropriate when it comes to my team. I'm more than willing to go up after all those guys because like we talk about this time. It's like if you're speaking the truth, like I can care less who it is, and how smart they think they are. But
Right.
the other day, it's like there's something you don't know, or you wouldn't have come after us. It's like
Right.
we're fighting for you. Like, why would you? Why would anybody attack us?
Right. Exactly.
So I welcome that. I encourage it. Please, if you feel like you have something really important and smart to say, and you'd like to get a smack down in public, please feel free to go after that. I'm comfortable with it.
Yep. Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
They always pipe up as well. So what's going on, man, in the news? I don't even know. Like,
Trump was just in a rally in Florida, and a massive crowd. And he said he doesn't know how big the stadium is. One of these massive stadiums, and it was filled, and it's got massive crowds outside the stadium. So this is like repeated, right? And he made a comment that these other Democrats running, right? If they get 1,000 people together, they say it's a massive crowd, but they'll never say.
They're always trying to downplay Trump.
Yeah. So they'll never
Like,
mention the size of his crowds. If there's an empty seat, they'll basically zoom the cameras in on an empty seat. It's just because someone went to the restroom. That's all.
I know.
Yeah, but they'll blow it up into something else. But there was definitely some interesting. I don't want to say a shift so much in the in this, but overall it felt like that he has gone on the offensive against the whole deep state. He actually brought up the deep state, right, and said a defeat against the deep state, and he's labeling that as the thing to go after. So I think that that's really what we're looking at here. That there's such a he said wherever he goes, he can pick any city, and he says get the biggest venue they have, and it'll be full. He said This has never happened ever, never. It never has this happened, and this is a very pivotal moment. And I think this next election cycle, when we see a year from now, people go to the polls. Last election cycle, they came out of the woodwork to vote, right? People, they said it was unbelievable. They just didn't get how many people were going to be coming out to vote. But I think this time is going to be much bigger, because I think most people will realize now that this is the first time that the vote really matters. So their vote actually has such weight to it that they don't want to miss being part of this transformation of not just the country but of the world, to get out of the evil, to break the cabal. I think people are going to vote, that as or they're 90 in a restroom, they're going to want to get to the polls, or they're just 17, all going to turn 18, the day before they're going to be at the polls. I think really that we're going to see this kind of upswell of people. It's going to be, and it's not just that they're going to vote for Trump, but they're going to vote only Republican across the board, because they'll see over this next year what the Democrats' media, banking system, how they've been intertwined, and they're one evil that meant the worst for the world. I think it's going to become clear, and it's just going to be such a sweep across the board that it's going to just wipe out the Democratic Party at that point. I think we should probably eliminate the party system at that point too, to get rid of that duality, right? It's just what is the best, people that are supposed to be representatives of the people come into the office and stay there for 4 or 6 years, and then maybe they stay another term, but not to not to make it a career, right? Where then they work the system, right? And I think that's what we're going to see. I was just thinking as I'm watching him give his speech, right, and his confidence level is so high, but it's as a result of the people that are there, the energy in that stadium.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And I'll tell you, it seems like everybody who's been opposing Trump is just falling apart. Ilhan Omar is now involved in a massive treasonous case, really, of leaking information to Qatar, right? And this guy, I'm of Peace, who's, I follow a bunch of there's a whole group of like conservative Muslims, right, who really clarify a lot of, like it's not supposed to be a religion of hate, right? It's just has become that because that's what they're promoting, right? But they're talking about Ilhan Omar, like they're not for her what she's done, right? And then she's promoting this whole alternative agenda, right? And so I think that's a huge deal. I mean, this is where I really think what is going on with the National Liberty Alliance, and there's other groups as well who are trying to do stuff, but I think they're the ones doing it closest to the right way, anyways. And they've had a lot of success and not been thrown out yet. They haven't been arrested. They don't have these stories that other people have, right? Because when they go into court, they're always going back to the Constitution,
right? And
they stand on that Constitution and say, "Look, because what judge really is going to have the audacity to say no? The Constitution has no power for you." Because that statement goes down one time. That judge, if that doesn't ignite people, I don't know what will. And you do have this kind of drugged up population that is indifferent, right? Like, whatever. It's everyone's just kind of accepting, not realizing what's happening. They just don't realize. Now, December 5th here in New York, I know that there's like with the vaccines, and there's all types of protests going on, right? And I know on December 5th, there's a big protest going on to hold your kid out of school to take a stand. And I'm promoting the heck out of that, telling everybody keep your kids home. And I believe we're going to actually go attend the local legislator, their office. We're actually going to the office. I'll probably take I don't know if I'll take my kids there just because you never know what crazy is going to do. But I'm more than willing to go there, stand up for the cause, and got my signatures and paperwork all set to go to certify me as a sheriff here in the nation state of New York. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So pretty soon, I'm gonna start dropping that on my resume. Yeah. Not that I apply for anything.
So how many gallons will be your hat?
Well, Dan, let me tell you. Yeah, we'll see. I guess.
Get a 10-gallon hat.
Yeah, from 10-gallon head. Yep. So we'll see. I'm sure I will. I'm looking at it very seriously and like really trying to like do some research on it so I can see what's possible and see if we can actually make a difference. Maybe it matters. People respond to titles.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would think also the other group that I know that actually formed privately, but took public recognition from the government and were called upon, or Mounted Rangers. It was a group that formed, and I believe it's in Montana. That's where they formed, then they met regularly. They practiced. They did their own law enforcement, and some of them were retired, law enforcement, but they became Mounted Rangers, right? And they would handle things, that were, off-road, right? And they'd be called upon. Right? And so,
yeah, sure.
So it does. You can make your own sheriff's department. or group.
I'm going to do exactly that, and I'll tell you what I'm looking at right now. Can mention this a little bit. Is I'm working on it as we speak, but I'm setting up a private task force, and I'm going to make sure that we have similar groups all over. It's something that's going to take some time, obviously, but I think it's really important that you have a constitutional task force, right? That when the people's constitutional rights are violated, that they have a course of action and some place to look that somebody's like, hey, we're with you. We got your back, And you have militias that have done things like this, like the 3%ers and, the Oath Keepers, these are all different groups that are basically, they've taken a stand saying if the government gets too corrupt, like we stand with the people, And I like that, and I think militia's kind of got like a bad name. It's like, if we got to call it a task force, call it that, But I do think it's important for the people to have a body that says, look, there's real laws that will be enforced, and we can no longer. And just because the system's gotten so big, we can't stand down and just continue to allow that to happen. I've got people that are serving a 30-year sentence for a first-time drug offense up in Pennsylvania that I've been trying to help. And drives me crazy. I'm just like, 30 years, already served 12. It's amazing. First-time drug offense.
Yeah, so, Trump actually brought this up regards to this, what happened with the Navy, right? And this, this, I guess Lieutenant Colonel, or whatever, I think that was a rank, but they were going to try and prosecute him for taking a picture, right? And they were putting him in jail, and this whole, Trump stepped in and basically, commuted the sentence or whatever, and gave him back his rank, and it ended up resulting with the Secretary of Navy stepping down, right? And Trump brought this up in the speech that today, and was saying that we can't have the people, our fighters in the field, second guessing what some guys in an air-conditioned office are going to do when they're out, because they're gonna, because they took a picture, right? That this is now destroying morale and discipline, right? And that was their reasoning right for it. So, Trump is taking on all of it, and it does seem like it's the Navy is the place where there's the most opposition, right, to him.
Sure.
Which is interesting because the counterweight to the Navy is the Marines, and the Marines are all on board with the president.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, and I think it's just one of those things where we can, people just, for the most part, to speak in general terms, we underestimate our power, right? And we all find ourselves in this waiting game. Somebody said something to me today about patience. Now everybody knows. I just hate that word. The hospitals are filled with patients. It's not doing any of them a damn bit of good.
And the reason.
I don't think there's a reason to be patient at all. We have waited a lifetime to change the world. We've waited a lifetime to be treated as equals. We've waited a lifetime to be recognized as the caretakers of this planet. And it's time for us to stand up and find ways.
I'm sorry about this.
Okay.
It won't. I just opened up my channel and started playing. It wouldn't stop. Every time I pressed it, it would not do anything.
No, that's something I'm also going to have as my own theme music whenever I start talking. So, yeah, no.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Go ahead.
But I think it's time for us to make sure we give people viable options and say, look, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that, right? And one of the things I think is really important is I think it's got to become very standard that if you violate the people's constitutional rights, that you will not move forward in anything you're doing in this government without the people standing in your courtroom, standing, on the footsteps of the courthouse, standing wherever on the sidewalk outside your house for all I care. I don't know, whatever's lawful for us to do, because when it comes down to it, and it really is as simple as standing, like physically standing in that place, right? Being a voice for the voiceless, right? We have all these victims from Child Protective Services. You got all these different things going on. What does it really take to speak up for a child? Matter of fact, who the hell is anywhere doing anything worth a damn that doesn't care about kids? Why isn't this the number one topic that every single one of these, so-called, political leaders is talking about? Every one of them ought to be bringing this up. If you're running for office, I can tell you right now, we are without question. I know money is at hand, and I know part of that is to change over the lawful system. I'll tell you, without question, if the only topic you ran on was, look, we're going to stop vaccinating, stop legally abducting children. We're going to stop that. Like, if that was your platform, man, you got my vote all day. That by itself is enough to disrupt the whole mechanism. I long for the day when I see a political candidate for anything get up and run on a topic that matters, instead of the bullshit they're talking about. I'm so tired of hearing about things that just are ridiculous. Can we please stop talking about global warming? Enough. It has been debunked. It is not happening. Right? Just because you call it something different doesn't make, you're still just as fraudulent. What's her name? Alexandria Cortez was dogging President Trump because she goes, I've signed on 339 bills. I've done this. I'm like, you haven't done anything but run your mouth. You got a less than 13% approval rating in your own district. You lost the Amazon account in the Bronx, which would have changed the culture of the Bronx. It would have been amazing. It would have provided thousands of jobs, and she blew it. That's what needs to be talked about. It's ridiculous. These people don't care about you or me. All they care about is pressing their own personal agenda, and we are the only ones that can take them out. And the other thing is, in reality, they are not our superiors. They are our servants. They're public servants. That's their job. That means, as long as we keep acting like slaves, we'll get treated like slaves. But as soon as we start acting like a master, and I don't mean like a slave master, I'm just talking about being a master of yourself. Being bold enough to be like, I know my opinion matters. I know what I have to say is important. I know what my rights are, what is guaranteed to me by God. You don't have the right to take it from me. And we start taking that stand, and we actually have the integrity and the courage to do it. Somebody was, some different people were asking me, like, are you planning to do like some kind of covert ops and go get this little girl out of there? I'm like, you know what? Yes, if need be, I have the constitutional right to do that. This woman has a constitutional right to organize a militia and take her child back. Hell yes. That judge needs to be taken out on a stretcher. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And anybody thinks that, because I know how these things go. People try to use that against me later and say, oh, were you threatening him? Man, you're damn right I'm threatening him. Are you kidding me? This man is sacrificing children for the sake of what? To protect his trucking industry? Coincidence? Strange coincidence, right? His pizza place? Really? His French foreign exchange students who are 12 to 14 years old who come and stay with him for 3 weeks at a time? What is a grown man, a grown homosexual man, who's in his 60s, having 12 and 14-year-old boys come to stay with him 10 times a year for 3 weeks at a time? For what reason? Like, isn't it a foreign exchange program where you exchange? Like, your child goes to stay with a family, and their child comes to stay with you? So everybody knows, like, look, I've got your kid, you got my kid, we're going to both take care of them, right?
Right.
What's this man got to offer? What's he putting out? What kind of exchange program is that?
Right.
Something that's off, is what I'm saying.
Bodily
and we need to stop
fluid
pretending
exchange.
like it's okay.
It's a bodily fluid exchange.
Right. Everybody thinks, that they make some deal on the side to turn a blind eye, right? I turn a blind eye because, they had $2,000 and I needed it, to pay my house payment or whatever, right? Now, the tragedy with that is most people, they walk away, they don't even think about the damage they just did or what they just signed off on or what they turned away from, right? That's where we got to start taking personal responsibility for all of this and just saying, no, it's not okay. You don't get to walk away. When you see somebody being abusive, you don't get to walk away.
Right.
You just don't get to. You don't get to do that and be free. Your freedom comes with an expectation that you understand what it took to get it to you. You might have been born in a free nation, but it was not easy to get free. I mean, if you want to stay free, I mean, and you're not free on top of that.
Right.
It's an illusion. So if you really want to be free, start acting like it. Be free.
Yeah.
Know your rights. Everybody should know the Constitution. Everybody should know what is in the Constitution and actually understand it so they can.
Well,
I'm telling you.
I thought that was kind of interesting. When I went from the Pennsylvania school system to California, I remember that we discussed the Constitution in Pennsylvania, right, in the school. But when I went to California, same class, they skipped over those chapters. Yeah. Oh, well, aren't we going to cover the Constitution? Because I'd already, the thing is, they were like the Pennsylvania schools were, 2 years ahead of the California schools. And I'd already taken the class. They were making me take the same class I'd already taken because there it was called junior high, and I was in high school. So, but it's the same books, same everything. But they skipped over those chapters. I remember it's like, well, why are you skipping this? So it was long been a plan for them to basically eliminate, people's understanding of what their rights are.
Well, to eliminate any pride in being American.
Right.
Right now, because you've got these scoundrels at the top, they've taken away our right to be proud to be an American. I mean, I always think about this. I take my sons to school every day. Now, every teacher my sons and my daughter have ever had, they all know me because I make sure they know I have expectations. You have my most precious cargo with you for however long every day. Now, if I find out you're feeding my kids some of this nonsense that's out there, I will hold you accountable. They all know. I have told them. I remember when they told me that they were going to help me. They were going to help to try to fix the way my son thinks. And I looked at that woman and I said, "Now hold up." I said, "Please do not fix the way my son thinks to think like you."
Right.
I'm like, my son is bright. He's intelligent. He's imaginative. And at the time, I think he was like 8 years old. I'm like, he didn't want to, sit down as much, right? He was like all over the place. I'm like, he's 8 years old. He's a little boy. There's nothing wrong with it. He wants to move. He's a kid. There's something wrong with you that you think this is the way kids should be. That they should conform and they should sit and they should do what they're told. Like, and just be in a chair all day. That's not natural. That's not how people exist. When you're a little boy, that's miserable. I was never like that. I mean, I spent all of my education until I'm doing my master's before I finally understood how I learned. So I was struggling all the way through school, always. I got decent grades, but I don't know. I think you'd be hard pressed to convince me now that I was dumb, but back then I felt that way.
Yeah. Your roommate has showed up.
Lisa.
I'm so sorry. I did do my own show today, and I forgot to put the logo back, and so I apologize. And I did it now, but I won't update. I think till you hang up. So.
No, that's okay. I don't mind. I'm more than willing to advertise for my team. And actually, it was great. It was a great setup. I got to talk about you a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I just want to apologize.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well,
before this, I was the galactic unicorn. I'm very comfortable with my masculinity. It's okay.
Well, my roommate showed up on camera. Yeah,
Who's that, Tim?
My wife showed up on camera. She was leaving
today.
So she's on.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, well, actually, I have it. I froze it on there. She doesn't like to be on camera. Funny thing is, she used to be an actress, right, on the soap operas here in Manila. But here, I'll share my screen. Let me see.
Oh.
Yeah, so I froze it on that page, but yeah, she was leaving.
Ah, that's cute.
She was going off to meet with her family, her uncle, who has a farm. It'll take her about 4 hours to get there, to get a turkey, a live. Well, I mean, they raise turkeys, so she's going to bring one back for my Thanksgiving or our Thanksgiving. But for me, she's left, so she won't be back until evening now. So
And is it already Thanksgiving where you are?
No, it's Wednesday here.
Okay.
Right. So I just wanted to, but.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, my days are all mixed up right now.
So got till tomorrow, or we could actually celebrate it on Friday, really here, and it would be Thursday there. So yeah, I guess it just depends if we have enough time to get all the ingredients together to make the Thanksgiving meal. So I may have
fun. It's my favorite meal of the year.
Yeah, I might have to settle for maybe cranberry juice and some Jello, right? I have to
mix it together.
Yeah, right. get some cherry Jello and add it to instead of using water, use cranberry juice to make it.
I guess you don't have a Trader Joe's on the corner.
No Trader Joe's. There are plenty of things around. I might be able to find cranberries, but it's definitely it's there is a lot of imported goods here, so I probably can find it. A couple things. I won't find sweet potatoes. I might find a can of yams, but probably not.
Oh wow, interesting. Well, I don't want to interrupt your show, so I'm going to skedaddle here.
It's too late.
I just wanted to say sorry. I know. I want Tank to talk. He made me do a show today. He didn't do one, so I'm just, where it goes.
Really?
Sounded good. I don't know what else to say.
I'm sorry for the burden. I apologize. I'll step up my game.
Because you haven't done enough shows in your lifetime.
I'm not doing enough shows. I know people are like, "Oh, Tank's out again." Damn.
No, we love him. People come. Yeah, people come to listen to you, Tank, not to me.
Not true.
Anyway, well,
we'll wrap it up anyways. Lisa, how was your show today? I didn't get a chance to talk to you. How'd it go?
It went. I don't think we're going to be airing that show.
Okay.
That's the end.
I should have hung up a moment ago. No, it's just, it's not what we want for the program. And after we saw it, Rachel agreed. It's just not what we want to do. We want to take it more serious. So we decided not to air it. So that was it. But it was great practice. And as you can see, I got my makeshift logo up. I did a screenshot of the video you made, and then
it actually looks great, by the way.
I know, just a screenshot from my phone, and then I did the color part, and then made it my YouTube channel logo. So we're, I'm improvising until you have time to,
Yeah, I didn't even know how I got your logo. I just got it. Actually, I thought you were on the call. I was like, Lisa.
You can't get away. You're living with Lisa, so is Dan. You can't get away. You're all living with me. Whenever
I didn't know it was a threat.
Oh, it is in full force now. No, that really is just a screenshot of the video that you made me. So I improvised today. So
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right, Dan, we got anything else, man? Anything good?
No. I'm good. We've covered a lot anyway. So I don't know. We've been on for an hour, 61 minutes. So we're good.
A bunch of people keep telling me that we should have a structure. And I'm like, listen, man, me and Dan are cowboys. You can't put that. You can't put that limit on us.
It's like, just making it this far. I mean, with this new software, I've kind of lost track of the numbering system. I'll have to go back and rename some of these last, once since they changed the software to number. I don't know where we're at, but 270 some, in a row. We're doing good. Every day we make it on somehow.
Right. Yeah. I I think it's good. You know, and I was thinking about it, like, I'm trying to be more structured. I know a lot of people want to just tune in and see what's going on with funding and with Kim, and I get that. That's, you know, so I'm trying to be respectful of that.
Right.
But you know, like I was thinking about, like, you know, we've had like live shows like where things are going down, like what was going on in Mexico. You know, it's like that was happening in that moment.
Right.
Like we have, you know, lots of stuff like that happen. So I like live. You know, it really bums me out that that we have to sue YouTube at some point because, you know, it's such a quality platform. You know, but it's amazing. They're actually blocking everything.
Sure. Well, that's
like,
you know, here's something that I'm just totally amazed. I've got 200 some channels, right? I haven't unsubscribed to any really. Maybe I did it once to see, you know, hey, I don't need this one. I just want to see how do I unsubscribe. You know, there's so much to it, but everything that's being fed to my channel, I mean, not to my channel, to my list of what to watch, all of it,
right.
All of it is Fox. Right? All of it, everything, some, and it's not all from Fox itself, it's all copies of people that have copied Fox and put it up. And so I get like a repeat of this, if I just let it go in the background, right, I'm saying, oh, I heard that, this is my third or fourth time hearing this, right? And it's all different people copying it and replaying the stuff, but that's all that I'm getting. I mean, I get like SGT report, I get X22, and I got iPod that will come in the very beginning. But besides that, out of all those other 200 channels, only thing coming through, which I'm not subscribed to any of those others, right? I'm not subscribed to them, but I mean, all these ones I'm not subscribed to being fed to me, and it's all Fox, you know. So. Yeah. Anyway, just they are definitely manipulating what they want people, because they say don't listen to anything else, just Fox. So that's what they want to bring it down to. It's the same concept of what Google said, right? They don't want to return you a list of, you know, a million different possibilities. They want to give you one answer.
Oh man, Google's so bad. Like now, I pay attention to every time as I start typing what shows up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's always like something that's going to steer you back to this conclusion, right?
Right.
And then, you know, like I've watched, like there's some kind of, you know, some kind of governing switch on just my house, right? Like, I mean, like I live in the middle of town. I mean, like there's no reason why I should ever lose service for any reason, right? But they'll literally, you know, I'll be hardwired into the internet, and everything all of a sudden just, you don't have the data for this. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I can walk 10 feet from my house and pick up my phone and it'll be fine.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I mean, it's just amazing how they do it. And then I went to search like the Speak Project today, you know, because you know, people are asking, you know, like because I've been reaching out to, you know, different groups to get them active with to try to assist and put some pressure on the right people. For Karakowski there in Illinois, and they're like, you know, they're like, well, send me the details. So the Speak team, you know, they did just an amazing job of summarizing step by step the timeline, right, for Karakowski. And it's really amazing because when you're watching this injustice happen and you have it play by play, and you can just send somebody a link. It's great. So I mean, that's going to be a standard practice of what we're going to do, and I highly recommend that to anybody going through this. Like, you know, is document everything, record every phone call, because we have everything. We have every single thing going on. And they tried to actually intimidate her because, like, you know, you have to have permission. It's a two-party state in Illinois. Well, not if you're committing a crime, it's not. And not if you're a cop, which luckily the funeral home director, who we recorded the call, because this woman tried to portray like I was shady, but I recorded the call, chick. So I'm going to put that out there for everybody because, you know what, New York's a one-party state, and I could care less. But she made sure to clarify for everybody that the medical examiners, they are technically law enforcement, which under Illinois law means you can record them. So Karakowski's, she's recorded every conversation. So every lie they told, we got them. Mm-hmm. Now, how are you going to deny that? You know, because because we're not going to let happen to Kara what happened in California when they took the journalists that, who recorded crimes taking place, and somehow the pack of this jury decided that he owed them money. What? That's not happening. I'll tell you what, I'll make sure the whole court was filled up with militia that day when they try to take that kind of action, because this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. It has to change. I went to Speak Project today just to pull that link. I couldn't even get to my own site. It was blocked. I went to a basic search.
I got an idea for the militia. When you think of militia, and you see, if you imagine like the constitutional times, right? When you had the militia at that time, everyone had not a handgun, but they had a rifle, right? And you always see them, holding rifles. So have a rifle that is something that looks like a rifle, but all it actually has, when you had those guns that you'd fire them and it just says bang.
Yeah.
Have the Constitution unfold.
I feel like it's a recipe to get people killed, but I think it's very fun.
Yeah, well, you can paint them orange so that they know that they're like toys, right? But the symbolism of, say, firing the Constitution at them.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do that. Though. That's a really fun idea, actually, just for something else. But don't worry, guys. I got your guns, and I give them to them. They're gonna fire, and it's wah wah. I think that's a good way to go.
Well, you think of the media would be talking about it, right? Because they couldn't avoid it. Right? They all have these orange guns, and they're trying to scare everybody, but they fire the Constitution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Take that, you dirty scoundrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I got a bunch of ways that we're going to force the media to pay attention. We're buying a building in New York City, and when we buy our building, I've already worked a lot of this out and been negotiating, talking and stuff. When we buy it, one side of the building is completely open. There's like a small empty lot next to it, which I'm trying to figure out who owns it to buy it. But I'm gonna take that whole north-facing side of the building, and we're gonna cover it with monitors that has live feed from the projects we're doing all over the world. And it'll be such a dynamic presentation because you'll literally see people right there on the site, planting organic crops and helping other people and bringing in fresh water. So you won't be able to hide anymore, right? And that's just in the city. And in New York City, people will travel from all over the world to come see new sites. If you have a real organization that's actually changing the world, not just website and T-shirt money,
right,
but actually making a difference, that's one of those things that just it just changes the way people think. It changes the whole energy, an area. So, and I feel like I have those ideas all the time. I can't wait. I put in place whatever I can. But if there was really rich people, right, like millionaire type people who actually had integrity, right, who actually got that way and they did it the right way and they just wanted to give back, like the way like Bill Gates tries to portray himself, like I'm just trying to give back and just take out as many people as I can on the way down. It's like, but if there were actually good people, I'm like, you'd want to invest in us because, you want to make a difference, you want to have an impact. You need people that are willing to do it.
Right.
Find creative ways to get through it. So,
with the right heart, not motivated by the greed, but motivated by the love.
Yeah, it's like, and you know what? And let me correct myself. There is one, because Kim, she recruited us, brought us on board. So thank goodness for that.
Yes.
Oh, I will say this too. I did have very in tune, high level people from some of the intelligence agencies and banks. They all confirmed the Kim system is in full operation. By the way, got to mention that before.
Yeah.
which to me is always encouraging. You know, it used to take us months to get, you know, confirmations of that stuff. Kim just launched this. We're already getting confirmations from the highest banking sources in Europe and several other places around the world. So, very good news.
Yeah. I even talked with my friend who's a director of a bank here, you know, government bank, and I told him, you know, yesterday, I said, you know, the money will be coming in through the Kim system. You know, it's replacing SWIFT. So, so because he's asking, well, because he's got these projects he wants to get funded, and I said, yeah, so just check into that. So I'm having him check on that side too. So we'll see if Philippines is getting on the Kim system.
Love it. Everybody, you know, I love it. This is gonna be like a, you know, in somebody's book someday about how they all tried to pretend like Kim didn't exist, and then she forced them to say her name. I love it.
Yep.
She's got the flair to her. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, there's definitely some theatrical power to that. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Like, because you know, it's funny. Like when I start to do things, and like when we start to really move money and stuff, I'm gonna make sure to always ask them, "What system do you use?" We use the Kim system. I thought you did.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just kind of, I can imagine them all around, say the boardroom, right, in the high court, and saying, "Hey, what are we going to do now? We have to use Kim's system.
Yep.
Can we rename it?"
No, you can't, because I guarantee you Kim has every printout, everything that comes out of that system says Kim. Yeah. I guarantee you. If I have my way, we'll have Tank of America. All right.
Yeah, that sounds a good place to end. So, all right, thanks, Lisa, for joining in, and
thank you, guys.
And we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll carry on with Front Lines, the battle against the deep state, the cabal, and the Lumadonkeys. Bye-bye.
All right. Hope I win. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.